Hello guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are doing the college football playoff predictions. That is right, guys. College football playoff predictions for this year, 2023 college football playoff. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Last year I got all four teams right. They were in the wrong spots, but I did get all four right, so hopefully we can do just as good this time. But coming in week 13, these are the newest rankings, came out yesterday. There's really only 7 teams at this point that have a chance to make it. And obviously, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, the 4 undefeated teams. And the other three teams are LSU, USC, and Clemson. Unfortunately, Alabama, 2 losses. They're not going to make it to the conference championship. There's just no way that Alabama is going to make the playoff. If they make the playoff, then that'd be crazy. There's just no way. They're going to finish 10-2 on the year. So, and then Oregon and Tennessee, both 2 losses as well. There's just really no shot for a 2-loss team. The only 2-loss team with a chance is LSU. So anyway, let's get this started here. So, I'll start off with Georgia here. Really dominant season, although they've had some close scares against Missouri and Kentucky, I guess. But Kentucky's defense is outstanding. I don't know what that Missouri game was. They're lucky to win that one. But I mean, beat Tennessee 27-13. That was at home. I don't know. They're the best team in the country. I definitely would say that. And they're going to go 12-0. Once again, they're going to finish 12-0 in the year. But will they be able to win the SEC championship? And that is the whole question. It's a humongous game right here, guys. Because if LSU wants to make the playoff, they have to win this game. If they do not win this game, they are done. This is going to be a insane game. LSU is playing. Let's look at LSU real quick. They're playing some great football right now. So, they did lose to Florida State by 1 point. And other than that, man, they beat Mississippi State good. Beat Auburn. It was a little too close there. I don't know what that is. Got destroyed by Tennessee. That's when Tennessee was playing at their height. About the middle of the season. They've fallen off now. Beat Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama. Close shaves against Alabama and Arkansas. Arkansas would have won that game. I was at the game. Arkansas would have won if KJ Jefferson was playing. But LSU lucks out there. This Texas A&M game is interesting. At Texas A&M. Texas A&M is horrible, obviously. But honestly, they could win this one. It wouldn't surprise me. Do I think A&M's going to win? No. LSU finishes 10-2 on the year. And finally, it's time to pick the winner of LSU versus Georgia. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pick the safe bet. I'm going to say Georgia's going to win. It's going to be a close one, probably. Final score, 38. 38. It'll be close until third quarter. Georgia will pull away. 38-17 is the final. Georgia wins. Georgia shows why they're the best team in the SEC once again. They finally win the SEC championship, though. And they go to the playoff. They're the number 1 team. So Georgia's number 1 team in the playoff. And effectively removes LSU's chances from the playoff. So that brings us to a huge game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines. This might be the biggest game of the year right here. Michigan won it last year. It was in the Big House. This year it's in the Horseshoe. I don't know, man. It's going to be a good game. All depends on if Michigan's Heisman candidate quarterback Blake Corum is going to play or not. He went out against Illinois, and this is questionable. Lower body is going back to the Michigan locker room. This was 4 days ago. So Michigan is going to have a chance to win. They need him to be healthy. They need JJ McCarthy to have a big game, but I just think Ohio State's just going to pull this one out somehow this year in the horseshoe, man. They're gonna want revenge from last year. It's gonna be a great game, man. Ohio State wins. Though, I guess unfortunately, because I don't really like Ohio State. But Ohio State does win. I don't know. This is a tough one to predict. Ohio State wins 34-27. No, 34-31. Ohio State wins 34-31. Ohio State wins. They go to the college football playoff. Actually, no, they go to the Big Ten championship. Who's that going to be against? Hold on, let's see here. But Ohio State finishes 12-0. Michigan finishes 11-1. It's going to be either Iowa or Purdue, most likely. They're both 5-3 in conference. Iowa and Purdue have already played, though. They have the tiebreaker. They got to play Nebraska. Iowa does. And Purdue has to play at Indiana. I'm going to say they both win. Most likely they're both going to win. Indiana and Nebraska are not that good, so they both win, but Iowa has a tiebreaker, so Ohio State plays Iowa in the Big Ten championship rematch. As you can see, I mean, they won 54-10 in the regular season. Iowa is playing better football right now. I wouldn't count them out, but they just don't have the offense to keep up with 9-6 final. What the heck, man? They don't have the offense to keep up with Ohio State. So Ohio State wins. It'll be closer this time. Ohio State goes to the college football playoff. It's the number 2 team. So Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2. It leaves 2 spots for 4 teams. Let's talk about the TCU Horned Frogs. The only chance the Big 12 has this year. Oh, by the way, guys, both Big 10 spots. That's why Ohio State's schedule isn't showing up. Both Big 10 East and West are still up for grabs. Nobody's clinched anything yet, so it's pretty crazy. Big day on Saturday in the Big 10. Huge day. But let's talk about the Big 12 here. TCU Horned Frogs are not. They're playing. I mean, they've won every single game, but I mean, they're not playing their best football right now. Let's look back at the start of the year, man. Beat Oklahoma 55-24. That's when they're put on the map. Then they won at Kansas, who was one of the hottest teams in the country at the time. Jalen Daniels was like number 3 in the Heisman or something. And they barely beat them too. Then beat Oklahoma State, barely. Beat Kansas State by 10. Beat West Virginia by 10. Texas Tech by 10. Texas by 7. Baylor by 1. So I mean, they're just barely scraping by these games, but I mean, they're still winning. Win's a win, you know. They're gonna beat Iowa State, of course. And Iowa State's, I don't know what happened to them this year. They just can't score, I don't think. They got a good defense, so. Big 12 championship, they most likely play Kansas State, because Kansas State's going to beat Kansas. Kansas is not going to win that game. Kansas is not playing good football right now. It's on the road. Kansas State's got that easy dub. And TCU already beat Kansas State. That was at home. You got to think TCU's just going to drop one, you know? I think they're going to slip up at some point. At some point, they got to slip up. That's what I'm thinking, but I just don't know if they're going to. So we'll come back to TCU in a second. Let's take a look at USC and Clemson. 2, I guess you could say, outside shots, maybe, of the playoff. USC's only loss is by 1 point on the road, which is very interesting. Barely beat a bad Arizona team, though. But USC, guys, is a horrible team on the road. This has been a horrible team on the road this year. At home, beat Rice 68-14, 45-17, 42-25, 30-14. That was, I don't know what that game was. That was a horrible game by USC there. In Colorado, 55-17. And then let's look at the road games. At Stanford, 41-28. 3-point win there against Oregon State. Loss, 8-point win against Arizona. So they've not been a great team this year on the road. They did win at UCLA. They got their biggest game of the year right here, though, guys. Biggest game of the year versus Notre Dame. USC wins this. They still have a great shot to make the playoff. If they lose, they're done. Notre Dame is playing great football right now. Would not be surprised if Notre Dame won that, but it is at USC. So I think they're going to win, finish 11-1. They would play Oregon. The Pac-12 championship, most likely. Most likely going to be Oregon State. Oregon's most likely going to beat Oregon State. USC versus Oregon. They did not play in the regular season. Let's see here. I'm gonna just look at one random game here. They both played Arizona. Oregon destroyed them. USC barely won. Oregon, I feel like USC is gonna lose either to Notre Dame or Oregon, the Pac-12 championship, or whoever they play in the Pac-12 championship. Washington, Utah, whoever it is. They're gonna lose a game though. They got a hard schedule. No way they beat both of those. USC drops one. They're out of playoff contention. So it brings up the Clemson Tigers. They got two not easy games as well. Home versus South Carolina, who South Carolina just absolutely obliterated Tennessee. But I mean, Clemson hasn't lost at home in like I don't know how long. South Carolina is so weird, man. They lose to Florida 38-6, and then next week they beat Tennessee 63-38. Go from scoring 6 points to 63. What in the world? He goes as the team does, but I feel like there ain't no way Clemson loses that. Then versus North Carolina. North Carolina had a weird game against Georgia Tech. I don't know what that was. 17 points is the season low for them, I'm pretty sure. So if Clemson wins both of those, they most likely will. They'll be 12-1. They'll be ahead of USC around 7 or 6. So they're gonna be close in there, man. I think Clemson wins this game right here, guys. I don't think North Carolina has a chance at all, to be honest with you. And that leaves these three teams for 5. So we got 2 spots for 3 teams. I'm gonna say number 3. I think TCU drops one, man. I really do. I'm gonna say number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. 3. How high would Clemson move up? Would they move ahead of TCU and Michigan? Would they, though? What rank is Clemson right now? 8? Good grief. That's too low, man. Alright, number 1. Alright, guys, we're doing number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Screw it. 3, Clemson. And they decide between Michigan and TCU. They're gonna take Michigan. So unfortunately, TCU does not make the playoff. That's my prediction. So Georgia versus Michigan rematch from last year. On the other side, Ohio State versus Clemson. That's my playoff prediction. I just came up with this right now. So I could be almost right. I could be totally wrong. Just depends on how much they slide up Clemson. And they could try to slide in Alabama in there like they're biased crap. But I feel like TCU just drops one, man. If they don't, then if TCU beats Iowa State and Kansas State in the Big 12 championship, they beat them both, then TCU will be number 3. And Clemson will be 4, and then Michigan will miss out on the playoff. So here's what's going to happen. It's either going to be Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, and Clemson, or Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, and Michigan. It all depends on what TCU does, in my opinion. Thank you guys for watching this. It's fun to make this one. Love talking about the playoff and stuff, so hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your playoff predictions down below. I want to hear you guys, see what you guys think. I feel like Georgia and the winner of Ohio State and Michigan, definitely a lock. If Michigan beats Ohio State, then they'd be just flip Ohio State and Michigan in my predictions. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.